lovely people. From Omsk, Russia, Berlin Comedy Underground presents Alex Upatov.
Thanks, guys. Look at you, you're amazing. Hey, you might have noticed I'm organizing this myself, but please give a huge round of applause to everybody who operates the cameras as well, which is, you've already seen them on stage. It's Ian and Mark. And my friend Mario is way there in the back. And as long as we're stealing concepts, I'm gonna steal this one from Dave Attell and the Underground shows. I'm gonna give you guys a camera. Please have a camera, film whatever you want, please pass it around. Everybody gets to be a cameraman today. We're all in this together. Okay, as Carmen said, my name is Alex. I am from Russia. It's right off the bat, it's weird. Because sometimes I get booed for that. Sometimes it's just right off, like, whoa! I'm like, really? Russia? At that day and age? It's strange. Come on, make me feel good. Where are my other Russians in the room? By show of hands. Right up top! Oh, okay. Where are you from?
From Russia.
From what?
Well, it's Ukraine.
Ukraine?
Yeah.
Can't wait to be Russia, can't you? Here's the thing, like, I like doing that up top, and usually people are like, hey, whereabouts from Russia, and we have a little chat, but this started happening just a couple of months ago. Sometimes to Ukraine, sometimes we're like, hey, whereabouts from Russia, and they go, Bulgaria? Not Russia yet, but wait a year at max, right, at the pace that Putin's operating. And it's strange. As a Russian, like, you're used to being generalized. But usually if you guys generalize Russians, what do? You go, oh, it's cold and you drink too much. And we go, yeah. And then we have a great time. And it's fantastic. But like in the last couple of months, I tell you, being lumped in with a government that is so pointlessly cruel and evil and vicious, like, that's new to me. And I've been feeling almost like an American. Maybe not even that bad. Yeah, my name's Alex. It's actually my full name, and the story behind that is that in Russia I was born as Alexei, but then when we moved to Germany, and I was a little kid, the people who were supposed to give me my papers, they said, Alexei is way too Russian name for Germany, and they talked to my parents and asked them to change it to do something more German, like Alex. And of course my parents said, whatever. Like, as long as he gets to live here and not in the hellhole that Russia is right now, call him Hans. You know what? We don't care. Call him Barbie. Fucking call him Hans Barbie Hasselhoff. How about that? Who would give a fuck? And they went with Alex, then it's totally alright, because it's really easy to adopt from Alexei to Alex, but guess what? It's not always that easy, because we also had a family of friends who also came with us, and they had a little kid. And he was 7 years old, and this kid's name was Vitali. And it's not as easy to translate Vitali into something German, so his parents just got handed a list of German names to pick a new name for their kid. And the name they picked, totally cool for a sweet little kid, but that's not how kids work. So today Vitali is this giant dude. He has a beard and like tattoos, and he's really big. He has the deep growling voice of Tom Waits and the broken Russian accent of Vitaly Klitschko. And his name is Kevin. Which is a really interesting name to begin with. Never as interesting as in the case of my dear friend Kevin Nazibulev. And again, a part of the show where people keep asking me if that's true. 100% true, all of it, and not even the weirdest name change that I witnessed the German government do. Because you see, I have a colleague at work from Poland, Polish people in the back. And his name in Poland was Roman Rybak. Now, Roman, Roman, people know that name. No need in the world to change that. And Rybak, his last name, is the Russian and Polish word for fisherman. So the German government went ahead and changed his name into Romeo Reebok. Yeah, Romeo as in Romeo and Juliet, and Reebok as in sports clothing brand. Which I guess would be an awesome name for somebody who's a lady killer, but also an athlete. It's a terrible name for somebody who's a construction site worker, and also overweight. Poor Romeo. Poor Romeo. I just like saying that, sorry. I'm really, really happy that my parents decided to move here, and I'm really happy to live in Berlin right now, which is amazing. I love this city. Yeah, fucking give it up for Berlin, come on. We're all here. Well done, us. I don't know if you've been living in Berlin for a long time or if you're just visiting, but here's a thing that we actually do have in Berlin now. You can go there tomorrow, it's completely true. Berlin has its own vegan dildo store. Right, that's what I thought. Because that raises the question, what makes a dildo vegan? And here's the thing, I already took myself through a thinking process, so you don't have to. So let's go through this together. First rule of vegan, no meat. No meat involved in the dildo producing process. As far as I'm concerned, never heard of it. Never, like, that's the first thing about the dildo. You want to put something inside of you that isn't meat? Go dildo. Okay, so second rule of dildo, no leather, no milk. Never heard of a leather milk dildo. Maybe that's just me. So, by default, and ruling out everything else, I came to the conclusion that what makes the dildo vegan is the fact that the company producing the dildo does not use animal testing. Which, yeah, I support that. Oh my God, I support that so much. I want to encourage everyone in this beautiful audience to please, for the love of God, look out for the vegan sticker in your future dildo purchases. Also buy my new comedy album, Future Dildo Purchases. If you haven't figured it out by now, I love saying future dildo purchases. A friend of mine heard all this and he said, you know what, that's all funny and shit, but but you know what the first rule of vegan actually is? Because the first rule of vegan is always talk about vegan. Good. Crowd that gets Fight Club references. I like that. So, people assume that I study something. Why? Like, people think that about me. They keep coming up to me after the shows and think that I study something. And the only thing they know about me is this, like telling dick jokes to strangers while being paid in beer. So, apparently this is considered to be a very intellectual activity in our society. I know that the fact that I look like a fucking infant doesn't help, but here's the thing. I am a 27-year-old man, okay? I just stopped aging at 17. I don't know what happened. For a while I thought I had this terrible, terrible medical condition where you don't physically age. You guys heard about it? Yeah? Elijah Wood's disease? Terrible. Bilboism. So, like, people see a hairless face on stage telling a dick joke and think, oh, this must be a studied, very intelligent individual. And the thing is, I dropped out of school. That's how far off everybody is. But I guess part of the misconception comes from the fact that I was raised by intellectuals, which to me was as strange as being raised by wolves, to be honest. Because here's the life plan that my parents and my family preceded to me. They went, you know what, here's your life. You pick a profession, then you go to school forever, then you study forever, and then you get the profession, and then you're happy. And well, that sounds fair enough. I believe that to be true. But then I started growing up and absorbing and observing things around me, and that's when I realized, oh, nobody in my family is happy. Not a single person. Like, you see how they weren't really selling the concept to me at all? Like, it seems that the pot of gold at the end of the intellectual rainbow seemed to be full of shit. To be honest. But I believe that to be true. So from the ages of 8 to 14, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Yeah. Can you guess why I wanted to be an archaeologist? Because I've seen Indiana Jones. And no one stopped me? Just imagine I would have gone through with that. Like, no cool hats, no whips, no gold. Just me, alone in some chamber, dusting off a skeleton, telling jokes to the skeleton then, I guess. Like, ooh, somebody's lost some weight. I got a bone to pick with you. This is horrible. And what if that wasn't the movie? What if I've seen Star Wars and went, oh, Luke Skywalker's a cool dude, I want to be a farmer. Would they just let me run with it? So yeah, you guys came to an English comedy show. That's great. I really love that it's so many of you. And I love that because I don't like German comedy at all. Like, especially because I'm fluent in German. People kept asking me, will you do comedy in German at some point? And no, I will never do that. And here's why. I have two major problems with German comedy. And the first one is kind of a historical one. And I'd like to start it by quoting Robin Williams, who famously said that Germany isn't funny because they killed all the funny people. And that's a very dark but amazing joke in my opinion. And also later in life he went on to show us that that's not always necessary because funny people also kill themselves. But he did have a strong point there. Because you see, after the Second World War, Germany was just too depressing to be funny. Like, there was a big 20, 30-year-old gap where it was impossible for Germany to develop a comedy scene. And the second big problem that I have with German comedy, and that's a little controversial, but it's true, they steal a lot. They just steal a lot from famous British and American comedians. They take the jokes, they translate them into German, and they don't get caught because people who watch German comedy don't watch English comedy. And like, I only heard that a couple of times and I thought, oh, maybe that's rumors, but here's how insane it got. I went to a German comedy show. Big show, 400 people in the room. Guy on stage, very famous German comedian and author, and he does a joke. Everybody in the room laughs. And I immediately start thinking, oh, where did you steal that joke from? Because I heard that joke. Which comedian did you steal that joke from? And all of a sudden it dawns on me, oh, that guy didn't just steal a joke from a comedian. That guy just stole a joke from Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Like, sorry, but that's not even secondhand comedy. That's secondhand bad entertainment. I just don't want to be associated with that. What? It was the goddamn, oh, you're the worst pirate that I ever heard of, but you heard of me. That was the joke. You see how, what an amazing, like, laugh it got? Like, why even stealing? Here's the thing, what this guy doesn't get, like this dude on stage, is that if you steal other people's material, not only are you robbing other artists of their work, but you're also robbing yourself and your audience of authenticity, which is a thing that you cannot steal. Because you see, if my friends, like for instance Daniel Ryan Spalding, who's a great comedian, if he tells you about the time that he toured countries like Serbia as an openly gay comedian and how tough it was to deal with the terrible homophobia there, then that's because he lived that. And that's interesting and important. Or if my friend Caroline Clifford, who's big here in Berlin, tells you that one night she got so lonely that a cat crawled out of her vagina. That's not only a very funny joke, but also a thing that she felt at some point. And even in joke form, it's tough to talk about that to an audience. Or if my dear friend Paul Salamoni tells you that he hates Russians because they bully him in language school and steal his girlfriend. That's because I did. So yeah, I'm not gonna be doing any German comedy anytime soon. Okay guys, I really wanted to have like one gimmick for this taping, and I'm gonna do it now. Louis gets ready, because you see, for a while I was very, very, very obsessed with like old-timey kind of one-liner late-night jokes, and I wrote a bunch of them. And the thing about them, to me they're like bluegrass. You know, I really like to listen to them at home, but they have no business being in a club. But that's why I'm gonna do them right now for you in the only way that it makes any sense. Wait a second, slight costume change.
Oh my god!
Totally different.
People keep forgetting that Russia is a very, very poor country. You know, one time, I remember, I told my parents that I wanted a dog, so they bought my hamster a leash. Ugh. Really poor, really poor. For New Year's, we never had money for actual fireworks. So what we did was, we set the cat on fire and we threw it out the window. Did the job perfectly. And my brother had it tough, you know. My brother, when he grew up, he had to wear my clothes. But what about me? I had to run around naked. Come on, people, show some compassion. such a poor place where I grew up in Russia. The city where I grew up in, it was so poor we didn't even have a church. So for my baptism, the priest just came to our house and dumped my face into the toilet. Might not sound so bad, but our toilet was just a hole in the ground, so pretty bad. And you know what? You know it's a poor place if half a chicken nugget is still enough to bribe a cop. Yeah. And the school I went to, oh, poor place, hopeless place. At my school, they didn't give us no hope. At my school, they didn't teach us reading, writing, and adding up. They taught us stabbing, mugging, and sucking cock. Our school mascot was a mother crying, okay? Terrible place, depressing place. But I was a bad student as well, you know. You know you're a bad student if after graduation you still can't spell loser. But our teachers were dumb as well. Our teachers were no good. I remember one time I caught a teacher on his own reading a textbook out loud going, ha ha, no shit. And you know how in the rest of the world sometimes you would get like a test back and there's a brown coffee cup stain on the test and the teacher would get all embarrassed. Well, me in Russia, I used to get tests back with brown stains on them saying, sorry, ran out of toilet paper. Clearly a joke. We didn't have toilet paper in Russia. People sometimes ask me, Alex, what is Russian romance? Well, to me, Russian romance is this thing. In my area and in my school where I grew up, all the little girls, they wanted to grow up and marry rich. Which of course means every guy wanted to grow up and stab a rich dude, am I right? Such a poor school in geography, we didn't even have a globe. That's why we still think that the Ukraine belongs to us. Okay, that was it. That was the poor jokes, guys. Come on, you're allowed to applaud. They say that you should close on your biggest big joke, but it's not really what I'm about, so it's not what I'm gonna do. What I want to close on is something that I wholeheartedly really, really love. And what I love is coffee. And here's how much I love coffee. I love coffee so much that it's the first thing that I think about every morning. The first thing, I open my eyes, bam, coffee. You know, I don't get why they don't advertise it this way. Coffee, so great, it's gonna be the first thing that you think about forever. And here's the dirty secret. If you just wake up and want coffee, you don't get coffee. You have to make it first. And you're in a terrible condition to do that. Because, you know, you just woke up, you're dizzy, disoriented, probably hungover. And you have to go to the kitchen, which is way colder than your bed. And you have to do the whole clickety-clack thing. And of course, the first time around, you forget to put water in it because you're a moron. And it takes another extra 5 minutes till finally you get your coffee. And I think that's a weird metaphor for life, that just keeps happening every morning if you wake up. You wake up, you have a dream, but then you have to go through tons of bullshit until finally your dream is fulfilled. And here's what I'm actually getting at, people. There are a lot of pros and cons as to being in a relationship or not. But the biggest pro is not discussed enough in our society. Because you see, sometimes if you share a bed with a loved one, and I'm saying sometimes, only sometimes, they will do this magical thing where they wake up before you and without even waking you up, they go to the kitchen, make coffee, pour you a cup, get that cup, bring it back to you and wake you up with that. And that coffee, that is not coffee, people. That coffee is your day, starting with a wish that is already fulfilled. My name is Upatov. Thank you so much for coming out!
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this. We hope you enjoyed this. I'm Alex, you've just seen me on stage. This is Ian.
Hello.
Ian did the whole technical side of this. We produced the show just on our own. And Ian also did the album, produced the album.
Yes, as well as the special you just watched, there is a much longer version, which is an audio version. It also has an extended interview at the end with Daniel Lewis Veza. You can see his set from that night on our channel along with mine, and you can buy the album below.
Yeah, in the description box you can buy the album off Bandcamp. It's only $4. bucks, but you can buy it for more, and we hope you do. Because if you buy this, you're not only supporting the two of us and getting rid of our horrible day jobs, you're also helping the whole English comedy scene in Berlin. There are way better comedians here than the two of us combined, and we want to bring you their material by the same way that we did this. Like, we hope this format is successful, so please buy the album for €4 million and enjoy fantastic comedy from Berlin. We're Berlin Comedy Underground. Thank you very much.
Bye!